Hey, so I listen. I don't believe. I'm just gonna jump in. I don't believe Christianity was ever meant to be like the greatest religion or the right religion in the world. I believe Christianity was intended to be the end. It was supposed to mark the end of all religion. But then humanity gets involved and we mess everything up. I say that because all other religions is really men reaching up to God. But then Jesus comes in and blows the whole thing up through the act of the incarnation by smuggling himself into humanity and then teaching us how to live by the way of our beloved identity, by the way of love. I mean, do we really need like Bible colleges and seminaries and masters of divinity to just teach people love each other? Really? It's not that complicated. But we make it that complicated. Think about it. Like God takes Moses up to the mountain and gives him the top 10, right? The 10 commandments. Okay. Which consequently are all a secondary consequence of the first one, to love God. Love God, love the Lord your God with everything that you have. And the other nine are just a secondary consequence of living out the first one. So, but sure, we need to specify, I guess. Is that a word? Anyway, so we have 10. But then by the time we get to the end of the Old Testament, we have 300 different laws. What? And then history tells us that there's 400 years of silence between the Old Testament and the New Testament. But by the time Jesus shows up in the New Testament, I don't think they were all that silent, because now we have literally over 600 different laws. This is why the leadership of the Levitical priesthood was so crucially important to Judaism, because like, who the hell's going to remember 600 different laws? So chances are that sometime at some point you are living in direct violation of at least one of those laws. So now here you have the priesthood telling you, or you have to kill this goat and you have to kill this lamb and murder, murder, murder. And now we have the whole sacrifice movement happening, which is, by the way, a huge money-making scheme. I'll talk about that some other time. But it's what we do. We just complicate things, and it's not that complicated. Just live by way of love. Love each other. Listen, I had like my first encounter, I guess, with Jesus when I was going to church, and it was an Assemblies of God church. Now, the Assemblies of God categorizes themselves as Pentecostal churches. And if you trace back Pentecostalism to its very roots, to their genesis, to their very beginning, at the core, they were pacifists. Like they protested World War I. And then they started protesting women wearing makeup and lipstick. Like, that's a bad migration right there. I mean, that is a bad migration. And we just add things, you can't wear this and you have to do this. And and the simplicity of the gospel and the simplicity of the example that Jesus provided for us, it summed up very simple. Love God. People are going to know that you love God by the way you love other people. And don't forget that you also are a people, so love you. Love God. Love people, love you. Radical love and kindness to every one of you. Allow every decision, every choice, every path that you take to be dictated by the way that Jesus lived his life, which is putting love first.